Hey folks, in this video I want to talk about the brand new Guillermo del Toro's movie Frankenstein, based on the Mary Shelley's masterpiece homonymous work. And well, first of all, I have to say that I feel very proud of Guillermo del Toro, being a Mexican fella. He is such a real source of pride for us Mexicans. He's so humble, so amazing, so great, so, awesome. That's it. Another thing that you have to know is that I'm going to say some spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie, you better see it first, or if you prefer to listen to my opinion, well, you are welcome. And well, that's it. In this video, well, let me tell you that I've seen several reviews of the movie in other YouTube channels. Different opinions, different reflections, different even comparisons between the movie and the book, but in here you won't find it. I will give you not an opinion, but I will list several interesting things that I consider important to mention and to, think about from the movie, okay? Things that I'd like to highlight in my video. So I found inverted roles throughout the movie. There are several. For example, we have a human that become a god, kind of, a man that can, give birth from dead bodies, giving life that it's something that only God can do, and only death can take. Also, we have a son that become a father. Okay, the role is inverted. A human who becomes a monster, and a monster who becomes a human, kind of. A man as a giver of life instead of a woman. That's an interesting inverted role as well. Life that becomes death, and death that becomes life. A master who becomes a slave, and a slave who becomes a master. Yes, those inverted roles are important and interesting to see, because when you put yourself in other people's shoes or in other people's place, you can understand much better what they are facing, what they are suffering, what they are thinking, why they think the way they do, and stuff like that. So it's interesting to see those inverted roles in the movie. Also, we have thoughtful contradictions that are interesting to me. For example, the blind old man that could see beyond, because he was one of the only people who could see the goodness in the monster. Okay, he couldn't see it physically, but could feel, could know that he wasn't a bad entity. Also, we have fathers who despise their offspring, something that shouldn't happen. Your parents, your father in this case, should give you love and treat you with patience and all of that, care about you. Also, we have an endless life, which is that of the monster. And it is an interesting contradiction that I will talk about later. We also have a man creating life instead of a woman. Maybe I just mentioned it, but it's interesting to highlight, because it is an inverted role and also a contradiction. This is something that didn't happen in the movie, but it did in Guillermo's life and Mary Shelley's life. Mary Shelley gave birth dead babies, and Guillermo del Toro's mother also gave birth to dead babies. So it is a contradiction that happens in real life, because when you are born, you are supposed to be alive, not dead. But things happen. An interesting concept that I'd like to point out as well is that of the love, the concept of love in this movie is represented by women. Okay, in this case, Elizabeth and Victor's mother, which is also represented by the same actress, Maya Goth. It's interesting. I don't know if it has something to do. Well, Elizabeth as love. She had affairs with almost every single man in the movie, like the main ones, William, who is Victor's brother, Victor himself, and a monster. William had it just because, okay? And he was like the most normal man in the movie. Victor wanted it, okay? Maybe because she reminded him of his mother or something. And the creature needed it, although at the beginning he didn't know that he needed love. He found it out later in his life, and yes, that's something that all of humans need. It's in human nature to need love and to give love. So he wasn't a monster at the end of the day. For Victor's father, he didn't need it. He didn't need love. He didn't care about love. That's why he left his wife die, because he didn't need her. That's it. He only cared about wealthy, money, and, all those material things. And lastly, I'd like to mention a few interesting facts that happened in a movie. And the first one is that Victor's motivation was because of his mother's death at the beginning, but then it turned into the feeling to surpass his own father. Okay, he got it, and then he didn't have any other purpose. He didn't think what would he do when he reached his goal. He got it, he created the monster, and then he didn't know what to do with it. Okay, he was like, I didn't expect or didn't thought about what would I do after I got my purpose. He wanted the power out of selfishness, but he didn't have the responsibility. And that's what happens to many men out there, wanting to have offspring, but not wanting to take care of them, to be responsible of them and abandoning them. So yes, unfortunately, that's something that happens. His father didn't defeat death, but he controlled that which could give life. So it was his kind of his way to control life and death. He left his wife die when he could have saved her, but he didn't. So on his own way, he kind of was trying to play this role of giver and taker of life, because he controlled what happened to the one that could give life. And now I want to mention something interesting about the creature's immortality. I think that he was born immortal because of the defective lighting rod. Remember that when the creature was about to be born, the lighting rod was defective. So that's why his life was defective. What I consider a defective life is that life without death. Remember that if you can't die, you don't really have a purpose to live. We live our lives the way we do because we know that at some point it will come to an end. And that's why we have, goals in our lives, dreams. And the monster didn't have it. So ironically, immortality is humanity's dream. All the time movies and the science are seeking for immortality. But if you think about it, it would be a curse, because what's life without death? Nothing. That's what happened to the monster. It was doomed and cursed. I don't really think that Victor defeated death, because when he wanted to go away with it, he got it. But when he needed it, he couldn't. He couldn't have it. At the end of the movie, the monster, well, the creature and its creator became forced allies. Trying to kill the monster, the creature, or whatever, but they couldn't. Death wasn't there for them anymore. So it was gone, and they didn't have the control, not even the creator. That's my reflection. Those points were the ones that caught my attention the most from the movie. I loved it. That's now one of my favorite movies in the world. So, yes, let me know if you liked it, if you liked the movie, if you have watched other interpretations, other reflections, opinions, comparisons. If you liked my video as well, if you share my opinion, or if you don't, let me know in the comments. And that's it, friends. I hope you enjoyed it. For sure, I'd like to watch the movie again. And if I don't, well, the movie is immortal. I don't, but the movie is. So that's it, friends. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. Bye.